And this brings us to the heart of the matter. At the center of all of these electric clocks is this. And you could call it a little electric motor if you'd like, but Telechron refers to it as a rotor, and so that's how people refer to it that work on these. So this rotor, very common. This is one you're going to find through most of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They did use other types of rotors, but this is the most common one. It's called an H rotor. Now, the deal is this. When they made these at the factory, they squirted some lubricant in here, some oil, if you will. And what happens over time is that oil dries up, and then it causes problems. I would say 99% of the Telechron clocks that either don't run, make noise when they run, or run slow is all because of that dried oil in this rotor. And the good news is that oil can be replaced, and usually the rotor will then run again quietly or silently the way it was designed to. So now this is controversial, and I'm not trying to get into any controversy, so I'll just tell you the facts. There's a couple of different ways to get new oil into the rotor. And people, whatever method they use, are usually very fiercely attached to it, and that's fine. So what I would encourage you to do is explore, videos on how to re-oil these rotors and find a method that you're comfortable with. There's a method of heating. There's a method where it's use kind of a heating cooling vacuum to draw in new oil through here. And there's drilling. I drill. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small hole in the outside of the rotor here, and then I'm going to inject some new fluid into it. Let me just show you what this is. The rotor that came out of the clock we're working on, and I'm just going to hook it up to this rotor, this coil that has electricity across it, and I'm going to hold up so you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so hopefully that sound is, you can hear that sound. It's a kind of a grating sound, and that's not what we want. These things were billed as being silent when they were made, so we don't want our clock to be making some kind of noise like that, so we need to re-oil it. So the method that I use to re-oil it is I take a Sharpie, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark on the outside here of where I want to drill my hole. Now, if we remove the outer casing of the rotor, this is what it looks like inside. And what I do is I look at the rotor and I say, okay, this is 12 o'clock, this is 9 o'clock, and you have 10 and 11. So if you notice on this right here, it says 9, 10, 11. And I like to drill at about 10 o'clock. And the reason why is if you look in there, there's a lot of open space at 10 o'clock. If you look, for instance, on the other side at 2 o'clock, you'll see there's a couple of little gears there. So drilling in there, I don't want to hit anything in there. So as far as I'm concerned, the best and safest place to drill my hole is about 10 o'clock right there. So I'm going to take my rotor and just look at it like, okay, here's 12, and here's about 9, and 10. It's going to be about right there. So I make my mark. Now, I have a mini drill press for my bench, and they're really handy. When I bought it, there were a lot of them out there made in China, and they were really cheap, and so I picked it up. Now, I don't think that's the case anymore. You don't need a drill press to do this. You can do it with a hand drill, okay? But since I have the bench drill here, it's just convenient for me. Got it all set up, ready to go. What I'm going to use is a drill bit that's 1/16 inch. Okay, so I get my hole is going to be 1/16 of an inch. So let me pull this over here, and I'm going to put this hole in here. Okay, so a little bit off from the mark, it doesn't matter. Um, but now, one of the reasons why people are opposed to drilling, and it's a reality, is you can get pieces of metal when you drill fall into the rotor that can then affect the operation of the rotor. Okay, so I usually will drill the hole and then immediately turn it upside down and go like this and hope that's not the case. These rotors were designed to take a certain amount of oil, and it's not much. Okay, the H rotor, this one, is supposed to get 0.65 milliliters. So what I've done is I purchased off of eBay these old surgical needles and syringes, and bringing it up to 6.5 milliliters is really not a lot at all. Okay, that's what we're talking about right there. So I usually have a couple drops on the end of it, and what I'll do with that drop is just put it right there, because this gear right here should be able to move back and forth just slightly, but if it's not moving, your rotor's not going to work. So I just move that up and down with that one little drop, try and get some lubricant in there. Then I take the rest of it and inject it into the rotor. Now, I don't know how you get the fluid into the rotor without a needle, okay, a hypodermic needle. I do know that I have purchased them at pharmacies before. They're more than willing to sell them to you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one of these. It could be one that's disposable, one-time use that's cheap. But after I do that, what I typically do is put the rotor, well, it doesn't really matter, but what I want to do is I want to get the lubricant to move through the rotor before I put electricity across it. So I'm going to put that there, let the fluid run down to this back end here. Now the fluid that I'm using is nothing but automatic transmission fluid, the standard automatic transmission fluid. And if you're working on these, this will last you forever, because you see how little you have to put into the rotor. But just automatic transmission fluid. I think that they have a name. Mercon Dexron 3 is a brand name. I don't know. But in any case, this is a synthetic oil, which has some superior qualities to the original oil in that it's not going to get all dried out and gummed up. So after I've kept that there for a little bit, I'll usually turn it over, let the fluid drain back the other way, and just kind of take a minute to allow the new fluid to run over the parts. This increases my chances that when I put electricity across it, that I won't have noise. So, and I actually will even put it to the side like this, and then like this. But for this purposes of demonstration, I'm just going to put my finger over the hole and shake it. And now I'm going to put it in the coil with electricity across it, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I want you to see the gear turning here. It turns counterclockwise on the H rotor. Okay, other rotors will turn clockwise. With the H rotors, it turns counterclockwise. And I don't know if you could have heard that sound. I was trying to get you to hear that creaking, scraping sound that it was making before I re-oiled it. That's no longer there. So I'm going to consider this to be successful in re-oiling it. What I will do next is, well, I will tell you, and maybe it's just superstition, I don't know if it's necessary, I let these run for 12 to 24 hours once I re-oil them, just to let the lubricant move through it, let the rotor heat up a little bit. So I'll wait until tomorrow, but tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some lacquer thinner on a Q-tip, and I'm just going to rub around that hole so I know that there's no transmission fluid or any contaminants around that hole. Then I'm going to cut a piece of metal back tape. Now, I don't know that it really matters what kind of tape you use, but this is what I mean by metal back tape. It's like a duct tape. Okay, you've probably seen this. At Walmart, they had this stuff. It's called waterproof tape, and it was metal backed. And I've been using that and having good results with it, not having it leak. I don't think it really matters, but I think that the metal back tape is better than something like duct tape, which isn't metal backed, or electrical tape or masking tape. When I first started doing this, I used clear transparent tape. But what I found out was some of the clear transparent tape, the glue that was used held up just fine, but some of the other brands and types didn't. And they would eventually, the automatic transmission fluid would degrade the glue on the tape, and the transmission fluid would start to leak out, which we don't want. So I recommend a kind of metal back tape. In the next video, I'll go ahead and seal that up. It's really pretty self-explanatory. And then we'll take a look at the coil, which if you've got a problem with your clock not running, 99% of the time it's the rotor. Maybe 0.75% of the time it's your coil, and then 0.25% it's something weird. So we'll take a look at the coil, and I'll show you what I do with the coil to try to make it as safe as possible and make it last as long as possible.